you're very respectful to others. Respectful, whether it's employees, distributors, shareholders, other people in your society, stakeholders, etc. You're also very cognizant of talent recognition. You spend a lot of time in talent. I was very struck that of these six people whom we interviewed, they gave numbers ranging from 25% to 40% of their time spent on people. Which is quite a high number. Quite a high number. And when we probed to find out what is 25 to 40%, they said it's not that my whole day only HR department papers are coming. HR is not equal to people necessarily. It is where I spend my time and what am I thinking about when I'm driving in my car. Okay, I'm thinking about what did he mean by that? Will this person make a suitable vice president, general manager, chief financial officer, etc. People. So that's number one. The second is a remarkable ability to do short term and long term at the same time. So these are not people who say, "Arey yaar, ye business karte karte, I don't get the time to think of the long term." By the time you finish with the auditors and the regulators, there's no time to do anything else. This is in a light-hearted jest, you may say that, but a CEO who's just spending his time with auditors, he's got a problem anyway. You must spend some time with auditors, but there are other things to be done. And the ability to deal with short and long term simultaneously without sacrificing. So you're always got a vision of where this company, a trajectory, where it's going. But you're dealing with the fires that are on your path. So it's much like saying, I want to go to the United States to go and see my grandchildren, but I have to get a visa, I have to go and get my passport updated, I have to get foreign exchange, etc., which is a nuisance. Produce my Aadhaar card, PAN card, etc. But I'm thinking that when I get to wherever, how lovely it will be to take my grandchildren to the park or whatever. So you're thinking of long term and short term simultaneously. The third is an expression which we have created. I don't know if we have created, but which we have used, called critical thinking. And by that we mean very often managers and leaders will come to you and say, boss, this has happened. We have option A and option B. And the shaper is unique in asking, well, why not C and D? And people will say, I never thought of that. A very good example of critical thinking is Sharad Pawar. And you have seen in the last 2 days, you still can't figure out, right? But it looked like there's option A and option B. But somehow some option C and D has also arrived. So it's a very important attribute. So one person said, for example, when this came, people said you have to choose A or B. He says A, he says B, he says A, B. And she said, you're all looking into the problem. Stand back and say, what is this problem a part of? And you may get a different answer. And sure enough, they came with C and D. So I think it's a very important skill. Our whole training is analytical. Whether you're an accountant or an engineer, the moment I give you something, you'll tear it apart and find out what's in it. But if I say, but sit back and say, what is this a part of? I can look at this earth. I can say if you dig the ground, it's so much. It is round in shape. It has got so much depth. I can keep on analyzing. But I say, what is this earth a part of? Oh, it's part of a galaxy. What is a galaxy? There's a planetary system. I get a very different picture of Mother Earth when I look at it as part of a planetary system, as distinct from a geological approach, ki iska andar mitti hai, pani hai, all that stuff. That's the sort of distinction I'm making. So that is the third. Fourth is orbit changing. They're not only looking for solutions, but they're looking for what will change the trajectory of the institution or the company that they are heading. The fifth one is called breaking barriers. If you want to build a company, you will have a lot of barriers. But if you want to build an institution, you have to break the barriers without sinking the boat. Sinking the boat, I mean, anybody can do it there. Then identifying levers of change. So it's like a cockpit. I've got A, B, C, and D. When I should use my clutch pedal, when I should change my gear, when I should use speed, all those are choices to be made. And there's the seventh one is stakeholder orientation. Whenever somebody comes and says, if you do A and B, then we can save so much cost, he says, but what is the cost of the cost? And are we harming? Are we polluting the water? Are we denying jobs to people? Are we just become so they understand the difference between efficiency and effectiveness. They are not the same. Efficiency and effectiveness is not the same. So the last one is cyclical learning. They are not people who sit down and keep making uh, plans and speeches and strategies. They are people who go and act. It doesn't work, they'll try something else. They'll act, do, learn, act, do, learn, act, do, learn. So we got these eight. But of the eight, three were common to everybody. The first three, people relations, short versus long term, and critical thinking. And I was very struck by the manner in which these six people expressed. Not only the six, but other people in there, because we went and interviewed other people as well. And I think we got a very good sense of what the subject is, what does institution building mean, and of course we have ended with a grid, which is like saying, if you want to build your company into an institution, what are the kind of things you can consider? We are not given any, it's not a McDonald's hamburger that you just take it and do this and it will work. But what you should be thinking about and how you can do it. And when the books are out, I'm not talking of individual companies and so on because really it's not proper at this point of time. But when the books are out, it will, and you get a different type. You get a dosa, you get an uttapam, you get a, they're all looking round and pancake, but they're all different. You'll get a chance to sit, if you're the CEO of a company, and we want to develop management training courses because all our MBA courses train people to manage. You must have goals, you must have this, you must have that, so they can keep the gadi moving. They don't train shapers. And the people who need to be trained as shapers are not 23 or 24-year-old people who just finished their engineering or accountancy. They must be 40 years old who have worked for 10, 15 years. And, those you want to become field marshals, you don't choose Khadakwasla to do it. You do it at a certain stage later on.